And we're ready.
I'm going, George, what?
We will open this meeting on February 6, 2013. Let the record show that all selectmen are present. Time being 1:30. First on our list is Town Clerk Tax Collector, Cindy. Ta-da!
Okay. I'm here just to give you an update on what's going on, all right? Well, if you look at the ballot that I gave you, it's going to be very small. There's no zoning questions or...
Right.
But what I wanted to do is, if you see for selectmen, you'll see you're the last person on that list. It's not alphabetized the way it normally is,
They changed
all
it.
right? So if you look at...
Change it just special for me?
Yeah.
You got to be kidding me.
So if you look at that front sheet,
I think it really bothers
you'll
him.
see that is the way,
It's the way we signed up.
say, no,
No?
no. This is an RSA, and it's out of the Secretary of State's
It's the
office.
number they pick.
This is, so we
The
had four
letter.
candidates, so the fourth candidate is number one, and then it goes in alphabetical order.
For what?
Yeah. So if you look at your sheet here, number four,
Number 4.
all right, and go across, first listed is number 4, so the fourth person that is in alphabetical order is now number 1, and then you start your alphabet.
As long as I'm on there somewhere, I don't care where, Cindy, but thank you.
Just in case,
Makes no sense to me, but okay.
because we've got, 4 people running, so there may be some flack going out there. Why am I, whatever.
It still should be. I'm disappointed. That's all right.
Wow.
This is a new thing that they're doing?
This,
656:5A.
yeah.
So if there's
This is
4,
till 2014, end of election year. It started in 12.
oh,
This is for a 2-year period.
no.
And I think I don't know if they updated or whatever.
It's up there with the whole Florida divots.
Okay.
So this way, their ballot order is all the same within the state. We used to have the Secretary of State pull a letter from Scrabble, actually.
Yeah, why didn't they do that this year?
They stopped in 2012, and they put this together.
It should be just alphabetical.
Pat, they don't play Scrabble anymore. They don't play Scrabble anymore.
Just alphabetical.
What happens if they would have picked 12?
Then number 3 would have been first. You put everybody in alphabetical order, and the third person on that alphabet would be the first person. and
What
everybody-
mathematician put this together?
You'd have to ask the Secretary.
And then you go back to,
Alphabets.
Just say it. If I had to say that, I would say it.
Nobody with common sense
I'm
would.
sure somebody worked very hard to come up with that
Yeah,
convoluted
taxpayers'
plan.
money, too.
Yeah, at the bar.
At the bar.
Oh, my
Well,
God.
not an alcohol bar, but we're talking about
Oh, that had to be a
a
bar.
lawyer thing,
A sandbar.
Sushi bar.
a sushi bar.
Yeah, it was,
Okay.
We know.
bad
Is
sushi.
that why, Jane Alden is after Stanley Brown?
Correct. Because 2 candidates, all right, the second candidate goes first. I know.
You should have signed up first.
If there
I
was,
really don't care.
I'm glad you have the job that you have to figure this out, because this is
This
really,
makes no sense to me, but
this is so,
I can't, yeah.
really,
Yeah.
try to make life difficult and more difficult than it is right now with economics and everything else in here. Now we have to try to screw up a ballot.
And heaven forbid, if you didn't get it right, then they'd have a reason to soothe it down.
This has nothing to do with you, this is the higher-ups.
exactly,
Woo.
that's what just in case you heard any flack, okay?
We don't usually listen.
Yeah.
They don't usually come to you, do they?
I don't usually listen.
Yeah, they know you don't listen. Usually. My tax timeline,
Yeah.
this is a working document that I put this together to basically plan my year and be in line with all of the RSAs on when to mail out my delinquents and has to be no more than 90 days up for the last bill. 60, 90, right now, my head is spinning. And then put in with the warrant for the tax bills. And I'm gonna sit down with Joyce and maybe Lauren and see if we can get the tax bills out a little bit earlier so Tim can get the money faster.
What do you want to do? Send the tax bills a little earlier?
Well, the tax bills can
You're
be,
killing me.
They're still due when they're due, whenever you send them out, right?
yeah, but as soon as I send the tax bills out, you have 30 days, of course, and I usually give it a little bit more. But as soon as I send them out, the money starts coming in. The next day, and this is good for, you know,
Blood sucking
for
town.
Tim.
No kidding, right?
Yep,
That's us out.
So this is
I
what
know.
I'm going to sit down with Joyce and work that out, okay?
yep.
So depending, and also depending on the reassessing this year, I'm going to talk to Lauren, and it may affect my deeding time.
Yep.
So that's going to be a work in progress too, but the delinquents are going out on the 20th.
So for the first issue, what is it, July 1st?
It can't be due no earlier than July 1st.
Right.
And no earlier than December 1st. So I think if we speak with Lauren, because Lauren will be in next week, because she does some, system gyrations or whatever she has to do.
Right.
Before Joyce gets a hold of it, and then Joyce gets to me.
Right.
So if you have a plan of path, that would be good.
So this at the bottom, 2014 tax bills to be sent out?
Yeah.
You're going to be sending one out in May, one in October, and then in November too?
Well, November is the sewer warrant.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I get that at the end of November, December.
So it won't be part of the tax bill then? I thought it was.
Bill.
Oh, okay.
Separate tax warrant.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
I see. I understand.
There's no sewer betterment.
Back there if you want, where
Saves us a lot of money.
So you're going to work out the days for the warrant to be signed by?
Yeah, and when we can download it. Yeah, because once you sign it, then Joyce has got to give it to me in her system so I can pull it in.
The spring isn't going to be a problem.
Yeah. So, according to the law, I'm supposed to get those signed by May 15th. But I'm sure those of the towns don't, do that. I mean, whenever the warrant gets to me, in the summer, in the spring. But I'd like to know when.
But that should be easy because we're going by the tax rate
Right.
at the end of this year. It's the end of the year, the final tax bill were held kind of ransom by, or hostage by DRA.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I know there's a lot to do that one with the December tax bill, the DRA, the school, the district.
Right.
And then different forms and stuff, reports that you have to sign. So if we maybe get a schedule on that, and Joyce and.
So
At
November,
least get some kind of a guideline.
November, you're looking at the first or second Thursday.
What, Kevin?
Sign the warrant,
Yeah,
maybe the first
What month are we
Thursday.
doing?
October 30th or
Like a-
November 4th.
It'd be November 6th. 2014, right?
Yep.
The first Thursday
It's the 6th.
is the 6th.
November 6th?
Yep.
November 6th.
And October would be the 30th.
Okay, that's what.
So maybe
I would love to
October
get
30th
Yeah,
or 11/6 to sign the warrant.
yeah.
I think it'd work a whole lot better too than having it on December 25th.
Exactly.
I'm just saying.
Well, I know Cindy
Merry
every year
Christmas.
has wanted
Yeah,
to get the
yeah, I
tax
hate
bills
that.
due before Christmas, before people are in the holiday spirit.
And this
Always in holiday
this
spirit.
past bill.
This'll
it
work.
was- It was out late because of DRA,
Right.
but I really pushed it to get it out as soon as I got it. And
Yep.
Mailed it out so fast, so it wouldn't be due that week.
Right.
At least it was due the week prior. So it wasn't as big as a, oh my God, look what they did to me.
Right.
They're still
Well,
doing that.
unfortunately, there's a lot of things that slow it up or can slow it up.
I understand, yeah.
We always shoot for getting it out as soon as we can, but it doesn't always work out that way.
Yeah.
I mean, kind of like what we faced with DRA last year. What? What are you doing to us?
But I think once we got it from DRA,
It went quick.
it went quick, yeah.
That was an
absolutely.
anomaly.
Yeah, absolutely.
The biggest problem is if we have a question on the warrant and then
Right.
it's delayed.
Yep.
So maybe we can get the warrant up earlier.
Or at least a draft warrant
Yep. So
to review.
Yeah, now when I get my timeline for deeding, I'll let you know. What I'm gonna do is I'll come up at least 3 or 4 weeks before, and we'll give you all the properties that are up for deeding. What exactly, because I did that for the past couple of years, but I
Can
don't
you
think
give
I
us a
need-
little bit more information
That's
with
what I
it?
wanna know. What
Okay.
exactly do you want from me?
Well,
You
one of
should,
them ones, oh, go ahead, Catherine. go
you
ahead.
should get us the information, like you said, well in advance.
Mm-hmm.
Give us a week to
Dissect.
compile questions, and then come the following week. Like if you give it to us on the first Thursday of a month, come the next Thursday, and we will have compiled questions. But then it would take 3 weeks, wouldn't it?
One
Give
of
it to us, compile questions, get the answers.
We had 2 or 3, I think it was 2, that there were 2 people on the,
Right?
going forward, how can we correct that when it
I-
comes to us, and we only know that there's one
I
person?
have been scrubbing the assessing system myself.
Okay.
Through taxes, giving Gus so many changes. And having her look up additional names, whether or not they're on the deed, and I've got them as mailing, so they'll be on research.
Okay,
So I've been working hard on that, so that doesn't happen again. So,
well, I was just thinking is that something that we can do when they come up to us with the names? Is that something that we can research, or no? That's something that
no, I have a
probably...
research company doing
She
it.
Oh,
does
okay.
the research. The problem was, like,
But they were dropped.
there were a lot of questions on the amounts.
I have an idea, how about...
But the deed itself was, the names on the deed were dropped. There were 3 people on one deed and 2 on another deed, and we only sent the letters out to 1.
Right.
Right.
And that's what the problem was, and it wasn't the people that was actually living in the house, paying the bills.
Yeah,
And I think that was the issue on 2.
yeah.
Technicalities.
Right.
Yeah, so
And
I'm
I'd like to
hoping
avoid that.
Yeah, I'm hoping to, I've been going through whatever is going to be coming up in 11, and I think it
Yeah.
looks pretty good.
Yeah.
2011 lien, which is up to deed. So,
Congratulations, by the way. We didn't say congratulations. You're in for another 3 years.
I don't assume
That's
so
exciting.
until I see that ticket tape.
Never know about those
Until you're
write-in
elected, you're not
candidates.
elected, right? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Boy, they'd have to have an awful
By
lot
the
of
way, everybody, while we're talking
organization.
about write-ins, Chuck Mitchell for moderator.
It could happen.
Campaign.
I thought
What
he
happened? He didn't put a
Well,
name
he-
on the
he was-
board?
He was in Florida.
Oh,
I said,
got it.
fax it to me. No, I don't have a fax.
Oh.
They're in a big storm.
So why couldn't he text it to you?
You can't.
Oh, you
have
can't.
Signature. Yeah.
That's not
I
a
said,
form of
so-
technology
We'll
now?
take care of
So
it.
we're gonna have to write you in. He goes, oh, okay.
And then the flip of the coin if somebody else decides?
Yeah.
Oh,
I
well,
hit my head.
Figured out for the tiebreaker, that was strange.
that was wicked strange.
So the only way I can
odd
see
in
to
a
get that
recount.
information to us
Changed it.
and out in a timely
Double-headed
manner is
Why don't we have a work,
get it, I was gonna say,
Yeah.
get it to us before Thursday, get
Right.
it to us on a Monday.
why don't we have a workshop downstairs so I can get to my computer?
Yes, we can do that,
Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
if it doesn't interfere with Kim doing, the window.
Why would it?
Well, if there's 5 of us down there with you in a workshop,
First of the month, when it's busier than hell.
busy and,
I'll worry.
okay.
We'll be- Yeah, we won't do it on
A busy
I'll
day.
look at the days, yeah.
Okay.
So that's what I wanted to talk to you about. And this way, we're all on the same page, and
Yep.
and you have enough information. and- okay.
You're gonna meet with Joyce when she comes back and try to
Yeah.
get these dates pinned down for
Yeah,
the
and, you know,
warrants?
a goal.
Yeah, sounds good.
That's what I'm thinking.
I think it's achievable. I love it.
I want my bill before Christmas.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Seriously.
she's tried to do that for you.
I'm sick of the Christmas present that I'm getting from the town.
I know. You know how many times I hear that?
Yeah.
Yeah, but the Christmas present is living here all year long.
True.
Yeah. Okay? So this is
Alrighty.
gonna change.
And you get to do this.
Bonus.
There you go.
Thank you.
Did you say I'm getting a bonus?
No.
Hey, listen, the
a
ones
sandwich.
that should be getting the bonus,
Hot chocolate?
No, thank
Sure, a whole bunch of chocolate here.
I see that.
Don't be afraid to have a couple pieces.
You're off.
all right, this is excellent. Moving forward, great.
I'm not gonna call you up for a diet, buddy.
I'm gonna do it to my wife all the time.
But you notice, he's only kidding because he moved the chocolate away from me, just so I wouldn't be tempted. And I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm glad you didn't buy those chicken sticks. Damn.
I thought about it, those are good.
There is no self-control there.
145,
Yeah, we're right on the money.
and we have
Where is she?
the welfare director.
You may go get it?
Have we?
Call her up.
I'll call her phone.
Do we want to, can we discuss this while we're doing this, or are we going to do warrant articles?
I was just looking
Ada.
at this. I'm having a really hard time figuring out what
Yeah, but
they're
you just
doing.
tell her it's
Because I can't read it.
They're taking off the existing, what's up there is a roll-down, looks like shingle, not sealed kind of rubber roof.
Well, okay.
So they're taking
There's
all that
rubber
off.
roof, there's torch-apply rubber roof, there's rubber roof, there is rolled roofing, which is more like an asphalt shingle in a big roll.
That's what's up
But
there.
that's not rubber.
We don't want
You don't
that.
want that because, yeah, that doesn't,
That's what's up there now.
We want a membrane that's
Right,
complete.
and this is the,
but is this torch, have you read this?
Is it seamless?
this is
Yeah. Is
seamless.
it torch-apply? It says they're gonna screw it down, so it's not torch-apply, using 3-inch screws and plates.
Yeah, it's put together by plates.
So I'm kinda wondering,
I think it's up here.
this is an old roof?
It's like upstairs.
Yeah, it's
3-inch screws?
Yeah.
Into what?
You're going to the
joist.
boards.
right, the boards.
And
going to
hopefully
the
the
rafters.
rafters, if they can ascertain where they are.
I was just gonna say that because.
Doesn't always work that way, but.
And then they're gonna install it 2 feet under the existing shingles? How are they
It
gonna do
goes like,
that?
because
Because those 2 feet of
There's a
shingles
small-
aren't flapping. You know what I mean? They're nailed in place.
nailed.
there's a small angled roof
Yep.
that comes off of it, and then it's the flat roof.
Yeah, but how are they gonna slip that 2 feet under a
They will
roof that's
relieve
nailed
those
down?
shingles. They will relieve the shingles and put them back down.
Right, they
Yeah,
will.
well, that's not what it says here, and I wanna make sure that they're responsible.
This
If
is
that's how I
just
would
that
do it.
little back part,
they end
right?
up flapping,
Yeah.
they're gonna,
I wanted to just give an update on the cases, but
Wait a minute,
sorry. We can come back to it.
yeah, we'll come back to it. But, does this need to be in public or non-public?
non-public.
Okay, so,
Well, that's gonna be a problem,
Why?
because we didn't tell her, and she's not.
Well, we can go down to,
We'll have to go downstairs.
yeah, we'll go downstairs.
She's in my office.
No, we'll have to
No, we'll go
All the
downstairs.
stuff
We'll
is
go
there.
downstairs.
We'll go down to Joyce's office.
We're gonna
That's
go
okay.
The confusion.
hold on, before you go anywhere.
Camera.
Make a motion to go into non-public as per RSA 91A:3, and this would be adversely affect the reputation of any person or persons.
Second.
Roll call vote?
Yes.
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 For the life of me, I can't figure out why those blinds weren't custom-made and put up at the top.
Because
Well,
the
you can see that there were blinds up
blinds up
there,
Those are roller shades.
Yeah, that's all you
but
need.
they were up there.
Yeah, but those were roller shades. These
But-
Venetian
Still
blinds.
probably worked.
But why,
Should have been customed and put up there,
Right.
probably at the expense of the custom.
Make a motion to seal the minutes of the non-public as they pertain to adversely affecting the reputation permanently
And contract negotiations
and
until
contract,
they're resolved.
and contract negotiations until the matter is resolved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, warrant articles, and then we can go, now,
Do you
can we
want to go
take
back
up-
to the roof?
yeah, the roof. Because are we putting this in the warrant article, or are we going to try to find monies to do this? Because we do have a leak in the kitchen. And it's because it's been patched, and patched.
My suggestion is we put it right in the budget and let the budget committee know Wednesday. Give them a copy of the estimate and tell them that this was discovered.
This is the only estimate we have?
Yeah, these are the people that are out there doing the roof now. And they
And
can,
if,
they could do it, I mean, if it's approved, we should have done this before, however, if we didn't even, the leak didn't happen
right,
until afterwards. So now that the leak is there, they're up there working on it.
Chances are they'd be the low bidder, but it's well in excess of $500, and policy calls for us to have 3 bids.
what is
he
ISO
did.
board?
did have several bids.
Not for this. This is a separate
Not for the
issue.
little
This is the
roof.
flat little roof.
This is the little roof out back.
Fan
It's
is,
a lot of money.
Okay.
Insulated.
If we could get a couple of other bids on it, that'd be great. That would be great.
Is that the stuff with the two sides and the crap in the middle?
what, do you want to put this, so we're going to put this in the budget? I can get 2 other bids very shortly?
We can put
This
this
week.
amount in the budget for budget purposes, can't we?
We can change the budget.
We can.
For building maintenance.
We can change the selectmen's budget and ask the budget committee to increase it by this much, or whatever you get based on the other estimates. And if they say no, when we get to town meeting, we can make a motion to increase the line by X amount of dollars, because, show them we have 3 estimates.
Roof's leaking, just started leaking,
Can you
3
take a picture of the
estimates.
leak?
Is
Oh,
it,
yeah.
Budget
Take a
committee
picture of the
said
stain
thanks,
on the
but no
roof.
thanks.
So they can see that there's genuinely a leak. This would be normal maintenance, no matter what entity was using the building.
Right.
Including
As
nobody at
owners of the
all.
property, that's something that, we would do as normal maintenance.
Sure.
we don't have this in any part of our budget this year.
Not really. But I think that's the way to do it. Of course, the budget committee will tell you that, although in some aspects I agree with them, there's places that the budget can be cut.
There is places. I would love to see it cut, but then you've got the what-if factor. And what if? And then when do we get the money?
We don't need a new cruiser,
I think we can get by without a new cruiser, absolutely.
and it doesn't mean we need to buy 3 or 2 next year. You have
Nope.
3 cruisers right now that are low-mileage cars.
50,000
That's typically
miles.
what we keep for frontline cruisers. They acquired 3
Oh, look at that.
in 12 months.
I agree.
Joe, pass that down to Joe. That's our new hood.
Is it actually installed? Did they come by yesterday and install it?
Crap, it still has the plastic on it, it's brand new.
It's, the electrician they have to do a couple more things today.
Wire in the switch and,
That's it.
Nice.
well, that's absolutely outstanding. I thought about going by to see, but, come on. There we go.
I told my mother, I didn't believe it until I see it.
Yeah, well, that's where I'm at, too. When it's actually in there,
I've heard it.
Pretty cool. It's in there.
you told me, yeah, it's going in on Wednesday. Jane said the same thing. I said, don't tease me, all right? And then I figured for sure they hadn't done it because of the snow. This is great. This is huge.
Okay.
I need to have a conversation.
Outstanding.
It
Outstanding.
doesn't have to be right away.
You know
If
what?
wanna go-
I've seen new hoods, but never in
Just to
an
give me
existing
some
building,
idea
only in
what-
new buildings,
Emily's doing.
new restaurant
So I can
buildings.
write-
I've seen new hoods.
I got a letter from the Concord. They're looking for nominations.
Oh, yes, I got it. Yes, we have the Vaughn Award nominations, folks, and I have a name that I'd like you all to submit a nomination for, please.
Yes.
Please. I'll write the name down.
Oh, I know who it is, but I just need to be filled in a little.
I can't imagine him giving it to a Tilton resident 4 years in a row.
Well,
I just can't imagine it.
we can go. We can go for it.
Yeah, why not?
Not that the three that they've chosen aren't totally deserving, because they are.
And-
But what's the chances that there's nobody else in the state, in any other locality that's,
Well, they go by county.
Do we have a warrant that's...
yeah, that's true.
Yes,
That's-
there was one in your packet.
Yep, draft number 3.
Yes, everyone has that.
Yeah, it was in your,
I got a number of
Draft
calls
number
about
3.
Article 2.
Got it.
What you talking about, Willis?
Pass that name down. That's who we're writing the nomination for.
So,
Who is this? It's a joke, it's a joke. I'm only kidding.
You kidding me? Where's in my mouth tonight?
Yeah. Make sure you take that day off.
Take that day off.
Okay, so we have $2,765 to participate in the State of New Hampshire Department of Transportation municipally managed state highway aid program to reconstruct the following state roads: Califf, Clark, Colby, and Winter, and to authorize the issuance of not more than $2,775,000 of bonds or notes in accordance with the municipal finance.
2 million
Authorize the
what?
Board of Selectmen to issue and negotiate such bonds or notes and to determine the rate of interest
65, I
thereof.
thought she said 75.
Two-thirds required.
right.
And then we have the pawnbrokers ordinance. Then we have hawkers and peddlers, which is changing to require the criminal background.
Right.
Then we have a taxi cab ordinance. Then we have Article 6, which would be the collective bargaining,
Yep.
which is, we have the figures on page 2. In further, yep, that's it. Article 7, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $10,000 for the purpose of constructing a meeting room space on the stage area located in the upstairs of the town hall. This appropriation is not included in the operating
Where do I
budget.
stand
The
on that
Selectmen
one?
and the Budget Committee do or do not recommend majority vote. What were the estimates near 10,000? How many estimates did we end up getting? Anywhere from
a couple.
24,000.
We really don't have adequate estimates. I couldn't get the building contractors
Yeah,
to
yeah, it
give me
was
an
so
estimate for
all over the
just
road.
the meeting room. The heating guy is having a problem locating, is it the return or the supply?
One of the, either or, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's a problem.
When they put in the lift, evidently, and I don't know, it doesn't make any sense to me because those registers work and those registers work.
That means,
So somewhere there is and because those don't connect to those, on both sides of the room, there's a return and there's a
Right.
supply.
Right.
But he can't find a return or supply for those up there.
but doesn't he have a dead zone downstairs?
I don't know.
Yes.
So he's got to
The
look,
hallway, the
When
hallway.
Caswell came one time, when they were looking at there was a dead zone.
Yeah. So,
so this fellow wants
Genius,
more
but-
time to look at it, to figure that one out.
Yep.
So I don't have a price for that. So I went through the estimates, including the electrical, and came up with that. It behooves us now, between now and town meeting, to create an RFP, to get it out there, get some estimates in for the contracting part, the electrical part, and the plumbing part.
Okay.
And then when we get to town
We
meeting,
can amend it.
we can amend it,
Okay.
hopefully down.
Well, I think we
Have
should have
any
the
of these-
conversation, so I would say yes. We should bring it forward anyway.
Yeah, have any of these been sent to DRA yet?
Yes, Joyce did.
All of what's here?
Yeah.
Yes, but now the one, number 7, that was changed, that Catherine changed from 13,000 to 10,000.
But
I'll send that.
the
one.
monies is not the different, if
Right,
the
it's the
intent
wording.
is changed, right. So that wouldn't be an issue.
So that wouldn't be, so I don't have to send that to,
But
No.
not the money amount, no. If
Okay.
you change the money amount, it wouldn't be, it's the wording and what you're doing with it and the intent.
oh, that's good.
Unless it's over a certain amount of money, right? Unless it's drastically,
And this is
There
under,
would have to be a bond.
right.
okay.
Then Article 8 is to see if the town will put 15,000 into the Tilton Northfield Island Park Capital Reserve.
That's
Article,
just Tilton.
yep,
Yes,
How much is currently in that fund?
30.
30.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, 30,000.
And Article 9 is to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate 35,000 for the highway equipment capital reserve. And then Article 10 is the 65,000 for the town road, streets, bridge reconstruction and repair capital reserve. Article 11, $5,000 for recreation facility capital reserve, which was created in 2002. What did they do with the money last year with this? Did they put it, did they use it, or did they just keep it in the reserve?
Which one is that?
The Parks Recreation Facility Capital Reserve?
I don't know if they used any of the reserve last year. What they're trying to do this year is, we've gotten several requests to update the playground equipment in Riverfront Park, including some exercise stations along the path for adults.
Did they not
And-
purchase a zero-turn mower in the last 12 months?
Yeah,
And
but
wouldn't
no.
that come from here?
No.
It does not, okay.
That can only be used for developing new recreational
New recreation.
activities. It cannot be used for maintenance.
What are you guys talking about, exercise on the path? What are you talking about?
Well, so people who might want to jog the path, there's different types of stations, so you
Yeah,
can stop and do.
yeah, I've been to those. There's a bar and there's a
push-ups
stretching thing, and if
So
you've
there's a
gone this
couple-
far, you've run a half a mile.
There's a couple of companies that offer
Yeah.
multi-purpose stations rather than just one purpose.
Yeah.
The other thing that they wanted to do, and that's been through request too, is to put a backstop in at the ball field for stickball games, like baseball and softball.
Makes sense. Adequate use of the field.
Okay, and then Article 12 is 20,000 for the reevaluation, and that starts, because we're having the reval this year, so that would start for the next 5 years.
Right.
I have a question.
Yep.
We have a contract with
Avatar.
Avatar, correct?
Yes.
When does that contract expire? Or does it expire?
It does have an expiration
Yes.
date.
I'm sure it doesn't, but we're talking about putting money away for the next 5 years. Their contract isn't that long.
It doesn't
It-
matter
it
if Avatar does it or somebody, it's
Right.
required by law that every 5 years, we do a reval.
And it's right around the
Yeah.
same kind of money,
Yeah,
Joe.
Yeah.
Okay.
So depending on who does it, whether it's, Vision or anybody else, it's still going to cost
This
right
used to be
around that
so
much.
simple, didn't it?
No, it's
right
been the
around that
same
money.
ever since.
Yeah.
What happens is,
It's gonna cost us $100,000 to reevaluate ourselves,
Yes.
plus the year-to-year expenses. So
Right.
Right.
it's gonna cost $175,000 to $200,000 over the course of the next 5 years to reevaluate the town and update the tax cards and
That's
the
what it-
software and, like I said, my only point is, it used to be a lot simpler.
no, the last time we revaled before we had Avatar and someone else did it, it was the same
I
process.
wonder what they did in 1965.
The
I'll
select-
bet you it wasn't,
Over here.
I'll bet you it wasn't this much money.
Well, I'll
It
tell you
wasn't this
what.
professional, but it wasn't
Right.
this much
I was
money.
just gonna say, That's what we
Like,
still
I
have-
don't like
that's what we still
Joe
have to find.
Jessamine, so his house is not
Let me do
worth
Joe's house.
$750,000.
Well, that's when we still collected inventory cards. Remember
Right.
the inventory
Now,
cards?
let's see, Pat's really poor, we won't do hers, but Joe, you know.
Yeah, he's a dub, so we might just as well.
You know, we may choose to go out to bid again when their contract expires.
I think we should at least revisit it.
Of course we should, and we may end up with a new company.
We should.
And we'll adjust that monies that goes into the reserve. in
I'm
the
not
future
saying we
years.
should end up with a new company. What I'm saying is we should find out what's
Gotta
out
look
there.
and see what's out there.
That's
You're
right.
Always in
absolutely
favor of
right.
that.
Right.
All I can tell you is,
Yeah,
this
yeah,
one,
okay, all right.
all I can tell you, Joe, is the one we have right now is
Better than lots of them.
better than the one we had before.
I hear that.
Yeah.
This weekly cruiser maintenance list that we have, did we send a copy over to John Scanlon?
It should go out to all of the budget committee.
Yeah, every time I would.
Can you make sure that Johanna gets this so that she can send it to all the budget?
Sure.
They should get it every time, I would think, huh?
Now, we're adding the petition warrant articles, Article 15 and then 16, there's 2 petition warrant articles,
Oh, yeah,
and those have to be
added.
added. Do they have to be checked by DRA or no?
Nope.
Nope,
They
they're
don't have
just
to be
as they're,
You don't
Because
mess
they're
with them.
petitioned.
No, because they're petition, they go just exactly the way
Yeah.
they're written.
that's right.
I would vote to give them the courtesy of putting them in as 7 and 8.
7 and 8.
Oh, I'd put them up after the bond article,
14 and 15,
like 3 and 4.
3 and
Used to
4.
be 3 and 4.
That's what I would, that's what we normally do.
It should go
petitions?
before the pawnbroker ordinance.
That all has to-
That's what we normally
And then
do.
push them all down? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Does it make any difference which one is 3? Well, this
Nah.
one was first. The
I don't care.
recycling was first, so,
sure.
Doesn't matter.
Recycling, let's get that recycling thing right out of the way.
okay.
I thought that could make a very contentious town meeting.
I think it will to some people, but we should get it up and out of the way, I think.
So if we go back to Article 2, we have some work to do before we get to town meeting to present this properly, so the voters understand what's going on.
Well, I've answered a lot of questions about the legal notice that went out about the hearing.
About the what?
The hearing, there's a legal notice that went out concerning a public hearing for warrant article number 2.
Yeah, but we don't have any information for that hearing.
Yeah, but
What are
it,
we going to tell them?
what, they,
Is it a 20%?
They
Is it
called
1/3,
me.
2/3?
the
That's
fact
my
was, they asked me, I got to tell them something. My statement was that this gives us the opportunity to discuss it as a town, the merits, the amounts, whatever. And that amount is not necessarily the final amount. I don't even know whether it's a 1/3, 2/3, or 10%, 80%, 90%, or anything else. But what I do know is,
Tell them this?
I said I'm telling them I don't know what it is. But the only way I would vote to put this on the warrant at all is so the whole town can talk about it. No, that's silly, do you think, Catherine?
A bond article is a lot more than just talk about it. This is asking them to give us the authority to bond.
If
If they want the roads fixed, then we need the authority to
If
bond.
they want the roads fixed, and that's what they need to talk about. If we don't put this on the warrant, there's no talk, right?
No, we could have discussed it under other town business.
We could have, yes, I
But-
suppose we could. But that's my point. This is just so that they can talk about it.
No, this isn't just so that we talk about it. We need to get this passed. This is not just to have a public hearing and a discussion about, hey, what do you think? We need to be prepared for the public hearing. We need to be prepared to go into town meeting and talk about this intelligently and saying, look, here is the deal with the state of New Hampshire.
Right.
This is what's going on. We have these roads, they're in horrible shape. This is the deal we're trying to make. We're asking you for the authority to bond, so that we can go to the state of New Hampshire Department of Transportation and say, all right, we have the authority to bond, let's continue to play, let's make a deal.
Right,
If they want to repair the roads.
right.
If the whole town wants to repair.
That's
the
right.
roads.
They have to talk about this.
Yeah.
Because some parts of town pay for their own thing.
Well,
It's not-
some
So
parts do.
Somebody's got to take this
Well,
on.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, well, I
That's true.
think, If we come up with something that way we
In
can
order to
all
even get on a
study it
list,
and,
we have
be
to have this
prepared when, as you know, the conversation is going to come up, obviously.
so they can discuss the merits of what they want to do.
Well, I think to put it
No.
simply, we're asking them for permission to do this so that we can show the DOT that we're serious about wanting
understand
to
that.
get our roads fixed.
We need to provide them with the necessary information so they understand
I
what
agree.
we're negotiating.
Right.
It's not to sit there and have this great, wonderful conversation. It's give them the information, let them make a decision.
That is the conversation I'm talking about, Catherine.
Yeah, well, I don't want to have a 2-hour conversation at town meeting about this. What I'm saying is we need to go in there prepared with facts.
Oh, absolutely.
We don't have them right now. No one
we
has
don't.
them.
So,
In order to, isn't it, aren't we waiting, or are they waiting for us at town meeting to give us whether it's 2080 or,
well, I think that's,
He laid that out on the table. When we left there, the ball was in his court. Now, for some reason, we're being told that the ball's in our court. Well, it isn't really, it's in his court. We're going to apply for this road project based on the 1/3, 2/3, and we take the roads back. But that's not the deal.
right,
And we don't want to get bounced out of the queue either.
right.
Now,
So
let me
it's up
ask
to
a
the
question.
commissioner to sit down with us and say, okay,
have to
this is what we're going to
convince
do. We're going to keep, you're going to keep 2 of the roads,
Right.
we're going to keep 2 of the roads. It's going to be a 20/80 split.
Right.
We'll do all 4 over a period of, we can apply for all 4 roads at once. We'll do them over a period of 2 years.
so we got to get back with the commissioner then?
Bingo.
$2,765,000 represents the entire cost of the project, correct?
Correct.
No,
No,
It should.
Yes, it does.
Because the
Because they said
state
it was more than-
reimburses us.
they said it was more than $1.5 million just to do Clark and Colby.
The state reimburses us.
I thought,
So whatever it is, it has to be the whole amount.
yeah, that figures.
And I'm here to tell you, the state's got a history of not reimbursing us here in Tilton. But that's a conversation that we couldn't have
Look
come
at, what
March
do
14th.
you have for the total on that?
That's what we're talking about.
because I thought the numbers the state gave us on those 2 roads were really low.
I didn't think the state, did the state give us numbers?
Well, we got a letter, and they were saying
now.
for one of them around 700,000 or
Right.
800,000, and I'm going, what? For reclamation?
All right, what do we got here? We've got Colby's.
To vote to put it on the warrant.
Total reclamation.
Even if I couldn't vote for
Dennis
it.
has 338, 430 on Clark,
Wait a minute, 338,
430.
Okay,
489, 178 on Colby.
How recent are those, Catherine?
This year.
479 what?
This year, like 2013, within the last 12 months?
489, 178, that's Colby. 1,174,608 for Caleb. Did I do them all?
1 million.
Oh, no.
1,174,608.
608,
And that was
Caleb.
Caleb,
And 508, 881 for Winter.
08, 881,
Yep, for Winter.
winter.
Who came up with these figures?
Dennis.
Dennis?
Dennis did.
And he was supposed to give us, what's it gonna cost today? What's his
Well,
figure?
but I mean, even
Some of that they
looking at
won't know
this,
until they see how much ledge
you have
has to come up on
over 3
Colby
million
and
for
Caleb.
Clark, and you have over 1 million for Caleb, so, and
3 million for Clark?
you said 338,430, didn't you?
300. There were 6 figures.
338,000.
Clark is $338,430.
Oh, okay.
I have 2,511,97.
Okay.
Is that a complete state rebuild? Or is that just a resurface? Exactly what is that?
Some of it's resurfaced, some of it's,
Yeah, this isn't
They want us to take roads back into complete rebuild, and that's, what does that look like?
Well, it has to be a total rebuild
You have to
because
remember-
they've been let go
That's
so
right.
long.
And
When-
that's gotta be more expensive than what we're talking about in that number.
When we went out for the Silver Lake Road project, we had 5 authorizations to bid before we were done, to bond,
Bonding.
before we actually got to the project. Because the prices changed, because,
I imagine. 'cause
Steel
those are
went
last- Right. Asphalt's gone up.
Winter Street is a reclaim. Caleb Hill is a reclaim. Colby Road is a reclaim.
But the state was going to reconstruct Colby and Clark completely.
Reclaim, well, you'll get
Parts of
into,
Caleb.
I would think so.
you will get into a discussion with the state, just like we did on Silver Lake Road. We have granite curbs, the drainage. By the time we were done with what Silver Lake Road needed, it was $1 million project.
Yeah, it was.
And the state didn't want any part of it. They wanted us to pay for all of it, and they'd pay us over 10 years.
Right.
They ended up looking at it, and their own engineers finally said, look, this road is a mess. There's no drainage.
Right,
The road base has been undermined.
right.
And then they agreed to the project. It took us, I think it took us 2 years to finally get them to agree to all our terms, and they kept it. So, this is just the first step.
Right.
And that's what the legislative body means. Right now, this is the rough estimate we have for doing those roads. It gets us in the ball game.
Yep.
It doesn't mean that in 2014, we're going to go out and bond $2,765,000.
Right.
No, we might be bonding more.
Right.
Almost certainly, if we really get the
When
figures.
we met with the state, they had numbers according to which road it was. Caleb was, something per mile, and it was 17 mile, it was.
Those were guesstimates.
They have a per mile figure
Right.
for reclaiming a road, but unfortunately,
how much
it doesn't
ledge
include
and-
drainage work.
No.
It's
Right.
just, it's a paved.
Blasting.
But they also had numbers to estimates of what it would cost to do a 1.3 mile of Caleb, 1.8, I think it was, of Caleb. So if that's the case, we need to get back to Nancy and sit down with her, go over the numbers, and then meet with the commissioner
We need to meet with the commissioner,
and say, what is it? We need to know.
because
what
we're
the
going to come up
numbers
with the
are.
estimates, not them.
Right.
We're going to come
okay.
up with the
I
estimates.
thought they came up with the estimates.
I mean, we have to hire an engineer.
This is a municipally managed project.
Oh, okay.
Does that mean we have to hire an engineer?
That'll be part of the cost.
But not in advance of having this happen. I mean, we don't have time for that. Between now and when this has to go
No, you're
before
not
the
going to
town.
have those close figures. You're going to have,
We gotta have a ballpark.
we have a pretty good ballpark figure. The other side of this is they need to understand, we may be asking to bond $2,765,000, which is the entire cost of the project, but we're going to be, our actual out-of-pocket expense, for example, if it's 20%, is going to be $550,000. If it's 33%, it's going to be $912,450.
If they pass
Well,
back.
we're not even going to go into this deal unless we have a signed contract by them that this is the deal. I won't. That's what we had on Silver Lake Road, was a signed document. It was like, yeah, see this?
Yeah.
Bob Barry.
I agree. If they're not going to sign papers, then I don't want to get involved.
Nope.
So Catherine, you see if we can get a meeting with the commissioner and,
When do you want to schedule that?
no,
What
let's see
I
if we can go
heard-
down there.
What I heard in sitting with Mr. Clement is that this would, if we got our money together or we got authority to bond, that would get us on a list.
No
Yes.
guarantees.
Yeah, but the list is based on the fact that
You can't
It's
get
a
on the list
one-third.
without money.
it's a 1/3, 2/3 list.
Yes.
And we take all the roads back.
Yes.
But that's not the deal that we put on the table, and he came back with a counteroffer.
After he understood,
something I didn't see
after
anything
he
right.
understood that there was a state facility on the corner of two of them.
Talk is cheap. Until I see it in writing, it's just nothing but
Well,
talk.
exactly, and that's what we need to negotiate. It's one thing for us to send the form in and say, okay, this is what we want to do, here you go.
Right,
But that's not what we want to do.
The
right.
town has to decide that that's what they want to do.
No, it isn't up to the town to decide. It's up to us to create the program and bring it to them and say, look,
This is what,
here's the
right.
deal.
And then the town has to decide. They can vote no.
Then the town decides,
Then the
correct.
town decides.
But we give
Ultimately,
the
the town has to decide this.
We need to make the deal.
We need to first
Devil back.
give them
Wow.
all the
I
information
don't live there.
possible to
I don't
make the
care.
decision.
I think that this should be on the warrant so that everybody should have the opportunity to know what's going on. Because I don't live over there either, but a lot of people do, and they're up in arms, and some of this is safety. Safety of the school buses, safety of the residents that go back and forth every single day.
We have to educate ourselves before that takes place.
Well, we've got, what,
No money.
5 weeks?
Article.
We do, and I think we should get down to the commissioner as
We
soon as
better
possible.
get down there pretty quick.
So, see when the commissioner can meet with us and see if it falls within a,
Do I call Nancy Mayville to set it up?
No, you want to meet with the
call the
commissioner.
commissioner,
Just call him directly?
call him directly, the secretary will answer and ask
We
him
also- Go ahead.
after, sometime after 11:30 so we can all go.
Okay.
I would appreciate it if you told them what we wanted in advance, too.
We already did.
Yeah, they kind of know what we want. We want
Kinda, I
final
would like
figures and
them to
final,
specifically
I
know.
made it clear.
right, we want to
should.
sit down and
I made it
negotiate. We want to sit down and talk about
Well, then
final
they do know,
figures so that we
but they've
can
got to
have
know.
input to go into the town meeting with, right.
We need to know if Joyce has filed anything with Nancy Mayville. I don't think she has because we have those documents. We should get that in as soon as possible.
Well, Joyce will be back Monday.
Right.
All right.
So she needs to be
Then this
asked.
probably could wait till Monday. No?
I'd be
Let's see if we can
calling-
get an appointment.
I'd be calling up that commissioner. He's
All right, get a
pretty
date.
busy and active.
Okay. So that's warrant articles, everybody okay with that?
Yep.
We're all set? All that needed to go to DRA has gone to DRA? We're all set?
Comes in, I'll give her all of this and she'll be
I had a
ready.
question about Article number 8. We have $30,000 in the Island Park Capital Reserve Fund. As I recall, $50,000 was the engineering study amount. Is that correct?
Yep.
Yeah.
About
Okay,
that.
so we already have in excess of our half.
They're not going to put forward their
Northfield
half.
isn't going to
I
pay either.
understand that part of it. How much more money does Tilton put in toward a $50,000 thing? Are we just going to raise it all and do it? Is that what we're suggesting? Because we have our half, and when
Well-
they get their half, we move forward, right?
The idea is, and this can be discussed at town meeting, is it's going to cost us a lot more than $50,000 to fix the island.
Oh, yeah.
We're putting money in that in small increments.
Right. To get ready.
We're also
anything-
putting in our engineering money, but we're
anything-
also putting in our monies to repair the
In the
island.
excess of the $30,000 or however much the engineering is, would go towards the repair of the island.
Right.
Exactly.
What if, and I hate what ifs, but what if the joint deed holder, whom I shall not name, decides that they don't care if it washes away?
Well,
Do we just go ahead and fix it because we care?
we currently, there are residents in Northfield who care very much about still retaining their half of the ownership
Right.
of the island,
I understand that,
and who want the island fixed.
and I understand that as well.
So
And yet,
there is a move by the town of Tilton residents to get Northfield residents to go to their governing body and say, look, this is what we want to happen.
Right.
I don't know any of these people who are so concerned about the island, or I would have suggested that to them. And if somebody had done, if there were anybody over there that was concerned enough, that it would seem that somebody would have approached their governing body for that very reason, I would think.
Because we approached the heirs
I remember.
about giving us permission to just own the island by ourselves.
And that didn't work out for us, did it?
They want to continue to have joint ownership. That's where this all started from.
Yep. In, what, 1987 or something?
Oh, it was earlier
It was
than that.
1987.
The latest deed from
Oh, God, no, that deed goes back to...
1887? Maybe I just
Yeah,
got the...
It's
what-
pretty old.
It's around the 1900s.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's before that. My understanding is the dirt that was dug out of the cellar hole
It's over there.
helped create the island.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I heard too. It's just fill.
It's along the same times
Look at it be frank.
that we got the deed.
It amazes me that that thing for 100 years has withstood the spring thaws and everything else.
Well, it wasn't just,
Rocks or no rocks.
it wasn't just fill. There was a
Something
There
there.
was a scrub patch there. They just enlarged it.
Right.
And of course, the granite that we had up there for years helped divert those spring floodwaters.
What happens if somebody were to go in there in the middle of the night and just put those blocks back up? Oh, I'm pretty sure DES would come and rip them out again?
I don't think so. I've thought of that myself.
I don't know anybody who could lift those blocks up into
All you
place.
need is a fulcrum.
Yeah.
Block and tackle and a fulcrum.
Well, yeah, I guess block and tackle would work.
That's how they were originally put there.
Or one big rock.
That's amazing. That would work.
This would. We've moved a lot of things.
You could park a crane on the
famous for
Route 3 side of
full
that
fulcrums
and
and
lift
block
those
and
things
tackles.
back in 35 minutes.
Sometimes it wasn't quite as successful as it should have been.
One of those big
I have a
cranes,
toe that will attest to that.
those things will extend
Yeah,
110
but they're
feet.
slow moving. I think a whole day's worth of work right there, easy.
With a
But you
crane?
can do it,
The crane, you just wrap it.
because you could do it, as long as nothing's touching the water, and you're so many feet away. That's why you couldn't.
Okay, moving right along, because we really,
No, there's
Get out
no
of here.
minutes. There's any minutes? I don't have any minutes.
I didn't see a minute.
I have two things here
It's been
that we need to,
swamped all week.
No, I was just wondering if we had minutes. Which is fine, right? You're not gonna argue with me, kid.
oh, don't put that on, we're leaving.
But there was a,
I would like to make a motion to graciously accept a donation for $4,592 from the Meredith Village Savings Bank Fund of the New Hampshire Charitable Foundation. This goes to the Tilton Senior Center. This is what purchased our commercial dishwasher installation and is finishing our hood installation. This is from a grant that we had put in for last year. Our check has arrived, so
I'll second that in a heartbeat.
thank you for
Them very much.
Meredith Village Savings Bank.
Thank you.
I call the question.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes, thank you very
With
much.
thanks.
Now, we have a form here from Grislack and Company for the audit engagement letter.
Yep.
There, again, we do business with, and it only has
I
the
make a
town
motion. we
administrator or the
give-
chairman of the Board of Selectmen.
Yeah, I make a motion that we give our chairman the authority to sign the letter from Mr. Grislack.
Second.
The audit engagement letter for them
Yes.
to do the audit.
No,
I
don't get
second
to
it.
sign it until I read it. I hate this letter, but go ahead and vote.
I second it.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Aye.
Aye.
What else?
Somebody has to sign this paid time off thing for,
I think I did,
yep.
so it's just gotta go down there.
Say what now?
One of our employees is asking for a paid time off time. So,
Do you want this original letter to be kept in the Tilton Senior Center folder?
Yes.
All right, thank you. I'm going to put it in
Well,
FYI.
just let me make a
Really?
copy of it for
Really?
Joyce. I'll make a copy for our records first.
I'm going to put it in FYI.
I will.
This isn't, she's already accrued this. time off, right?
Yes.
Yep.
It's pretty much a formality then, isn't it? I
It
mean,
is, but you still,
Well, one of the things that we neglect to do is to look at that and say, okay, if this person is taking this time off, who else is taking that time off? So
Right.
that we don't have one person in town hall or two people in town
Right.
hall. We're not really good at checking on
I
people's
think-
vacations time to see if they're staggered.
well, we
I
have a
think that
thing
was a
downstairs.
call-in in the same day, Catherine.
I have to assume
That wouldn't be
You're following it?
that they follow it.
realm.
That could be bad, though, huh?
Sick that day, she calls up and said, I'm sick, and takes a paid time off.
right.
So how could you do it, Kim?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I'll have to go
No,
check
this is,
the,
she's asking for a day on the
Because you're
18th.
paid time off.
Yeah,
On the 18th?
yeah.
I thought it said January 31st.
no. That's when she put it in.
That's the day after the holiday.
But the date that she wants off is February 18th.
That's the day
Yes.
after the holiday.
So, I mean, that one's signed by her immediate
So you don't know
supervisor,
what
so
you're
we know the
talking about
immediate
now, do ya?
supervisor's gonna be
Does she
there.
know that she doesn't get paid for the holiday?
No, we don't. We don't know that at all, do we?
That
Why
should
wouldn't
be
you get paid for
signed
the
by
holiday?
her,
Salaried.
And it is. She signed it.
Why wouldn't you
Well,
be
yeah,
paid
but
does
she's
that
still
mean she'll be there?
full-time.
well, either that or her office is gonna be
before.
paid time
closed.
off?
How about that?
That's if you call, if you know,
Gee whiz, could that happen?
that ain't right. No, she should get paid for the holiday.
Yeah,
That's
It could.
wrong.
I don't
she's
think it will.
full-time.
She's putting time in. She's putting time in to say, I want this time off.
Yeah.
So if she works, if they work Friday before the holiday and Tuesday after the holiday, they get paid for the holiday?
If she put her time off now and you approve it, why wouldn't you not pay her for the holiday?
Right.
That's not like she called and said, I'm not coming in.
Right.
That's to call neglect to the company or the town itself.
Unless her supervisor approves it, and Cindy is
Yes.
the supervisor.
And she approved it.
And she approved it,
So she would get paid?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
So, I mean, that's why it was a no-brainer to me. Cindy approved it, so it's not like she's trying to do something, without going to proper
That's a
channels.
separate office.
Right.
Just taking that off.
Well, now you do.
Highest financial officer. I like that.
Highest?
Yeah, that's what it says.
What are you doing?
Not my vehicle.
I love this statement.
I hope you got a lot of gas in it.
I do. I hate a cold vehicle.
According to the calendar, everybody else will be.
Well, I said that. I checked it.
She's the one, she checks things.
I looked anyway.
Is that where you went down?
Yep.
I thought he was leaving. He grabbed his
I have
keys and
always
walked.
assumed that people had checked that.
Catherine
I didn't
said she
check it,
did.
but I didn't check it.
But there
so-
should be something on there that tells us that that's been checked.
Well, we could add a little.
Yeah, there should be something on there that says no conflicting,
Right.
overlapping.
Can I
Because-
tell you this?
Tell me anything. you want.
I know assuming is a bad thing.
I've assumed way too often in my life.
That we work with adults?
If your supervisor signed that off,
You would think.
then they must know that it's covered.
This is
Yeah.
a contract that
They
we should look
should.
at again.
But there's
It
been
could
too many
happen.
times that I've come in here on a Friday because they couldn't go to
We
lunch
should
because there was
put
only
out
two
bids
people
on
here.
other
Yep.
Companies, I mean, we're paying
So, somewhere
Sometimes.
for Fridays, the
audit.
planning gets all messed up.
That's true.
I'm with you.
It's the same stuff I don't like, but that's okay.
He's like, she's-
Okay, so you're signing it? Giving it, you're John Henry?
It'd be Catherine Henry, wouldn't it?
Catherine Henry. Oh, you signed it. That's Catherine.
Be a Pat Henry.
Pat Henry.
Pat Henry.
She's the only one.
She's the only one signing it. We voted saying she could do it.
Yes.
And it's all her fault if it doesn't go well.
Point.
As far as I'm concerned, it's
I
all.
didn't sign it.
Wow.
We really need
Can I
to
make a
take
motion?
this off of the pawnbrokers. before somebody signs it.
Yeah,
Before we do anything, do we have any public input?
nope.
Really? Oh,
Hear the crickets chirping out there?
I think I want to say.
Can we,
Don't forget, next week is the big public hearing for Spice,
yep.
Chill, however you want to
Now,
say it, at 7 PM. Wednesday night is the public hearing for budget,
yep,
so we all need to be there if we can.
yep.
I have a
And-
cooking class on Wednesday evening, so
Does the-
I'll be here
Can I
after
just
that.
ask a quick question on this Spice now? Is that going to be just like the pawnbrokers and stuff, that it has to go to town meeting, or is that something that we have the authority?
That's what I thought, because I don't have anything that there's a hearing for Spice. I have at 6 PM next week, the bond hearing. And I thought the Spice was going to be at, when you were discussing this with the chief and when Joyce further checked into it, it was going to town meeting.
Pawnbrokers.
Pawnbrokers is going to town meeting.
7 PM is the, no, we said 6:30, no, hold on a minute,
What do you,
before I speak. I have it written down. I have 7 PM.
that's what I had, but I don't have a notice.
Well, we'll get you a notice. What? Oh,
It doesn't need to have,
Doesn't
it.
have-
No, this is not a required.
Okay.
We just said before
Oh.
we would make a decision, we wanted to hear from the public.
Okay.
Oh, that's right. We're not really having a hearing, we're having
It's public
public input.
input.
Oh, okay. Then there's
Right.
the difference, public input. Okay.
Right, sorry about that. It's public input.
I saw that story in the Manchester Union Leader yesterday. I've seen it in the Monitor and every newspaper has, we could have quite a crowd. Could.
I hope we do. I'd like to think people would be interested in,
I'm interested to see what they got to say.
Yep, I am too.
okay, can I make a motion to adjourn?
Second.
And as we all know, a motion to adjourn is non-debatable. I call the question.
We just all said yes.
Well, I didn't say yes.
Yep.
Yes!
was because you were so busy saying
That's because I was running my mouth.
I don't want to say nothing, but